In this episode of Real Talk, I look at the training system of Dorian Yates, six-time Mr. Olympia, well known for his successful use of high-intensity training. Many of the critics of my content will bring up Dorian is juiced, that's why he got his gains. No shit. Dorian's not denying that. It doesn't mean we can't learn from an intelligent athlete. It also doesn't mean that we need to frown on these guys. I've chosen a drug-free route forever. He wanted to be the best in the world. With all that said, let's dive into the action. We're going to start the story with Dorian's quest to be the best. 1991, Haney's last contest. Did Lee Haney deserve to beat Dorian? When you take a look at this short clip, I think it's safe to say that Lee Haney was the better man that day. He had a smaller waistline, slightly more definition, and slightly more size and symmetry in the upper body. Importantly, however, this being Haney's last contest, it set the stage for a new champion the following year. Dorian Yates sought to be the best, and over the next little while, after conversations with Mike Mentzer, a man he admired for his intellect and sound reasoning, Dorian switched to high-intensity training, a brutal but efficient way of training. Yates took on an abbreviated program and the mindset of an athlete, paying close attention to year-round training and pushing the envelope of size. As you can see in these astonishing pictures, Dorian took his physique to ridiculous heights. The main question is, why is that important? As a drug-free athlete, now as an aging athlete, I knew that recovery was the name of the game. If I could train hard enough to stimulate the growth mechanism, 100% I was going to not only grow, I was going to remain somewhat injury-free both short-term and long-term. And the reality, guys, there's no money in natural bodybuilding. I couldn't justify robbing my family of quality time to pursue a trophy, nor did I have the time to train. We do have full-time careers in addition to other responsibilities. Give a man a responsibility with a mortgage, car payments, a wife to spend time with, kids and family time, and we'll see how much time, energy you have and how many gains you're going to make in the gym. There's going to be a part 2 to this video next week looking at the specifics of each workout. For now, let's look at the structure of the routine for its effectiveness. What you're seeing on the screen is a 7-day split. I believe Dorian actually had an 8-day split training, 45 minutes a day, 4 times during this split. In this example, we've got 3 days off in a week, which is really good. Monday, very much push movements. You'll notice Tuesday is pull movements, mainly the back. There's a day off in between, followed by some more push movements and biceps. Essentially, these push movements, directly or indirectly, Dorian is training his chest, shoulders, and triceps twice a week. He trains his back once a week, but when you take a look at his volume, that's 5 all-out sets for back in addition to deadlifts. That's a lot, especially considering I don't think I've seen a man train harder than Yates with a greater pain threshold. You'll notice that Dorian Yates has to do a few warm-ups for each set to prevent potential injury. Personally, I think after the first movement all out, Dorian could have probably cut back on some of the warm-up sets for subsequent sets, but obviously he had a reason for it. Number 2, he kept his training sessions to 45 minutes, which is pretty low for an athlete who also benefits from performance-enhancing drugs. Legs were once a week with the same brutal intensity with which he trained back. 1 day a week for legs, more than enough. When you look at this routine, there's a lot of volume here for a natural athlete, or that of a man over 40, especially with Dorian's intensity. Do I think a performance-enhanced athlete can adopt this model and destroy the competition? Yes, 100%. Remembering that more important factors are, what are his genetics like? Does he have the financial resources to buy the gear he needs? Does he have time to train and, more importantly, recuperate without having to worry about a job? But from a natural athlete's perspective, what are my thoughts? This program could work very well for a natural athlete. 3 things I would change. Number 1, I would lower the volume of the warm-ups and the amount of exercises per body part. For example, where Dorian had 12 warm-up sets and 6 all-out sets, I would cut down that to 2 warm-ups and maybe 2 to 4 working sets. Secondly, the intensity of Dorian's training was through the roof. I don't think a natural athlete can handle that type of intensity without overtraining or injury. Finally, I would consider building in a rest day in between day 1 and day 2, making this an 8-day cycle. With these changes, I would consider this routine. What are your thoughts? Do you see this model working for you? Drop me a line. I'd love to open it up to the community.